Hello and welcome to One Cool Thing, PC Mag's daily show here on Facebook. I'm Matthew Buzzy. This is Tom Brandt. This is our cool thing for the day. Every day we take one cool thing out of our labs that we're reviewing, testing, and show it off to you. Tom is the one who reviewed this HP Workstation. We'll get to the details of that in a moment. If you have any comments or questions, Social Pete is standing by to take them. He'll read out whatever you type, and we'll try to answer them as best we can. No guarantees, as always, because I don't want to be responsible, honestly. Tom, what is this? It's a little box. Tell me more.
It's a little box, but as you said, this is actually a workstation. Mm-hmm. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the differences between a workstation and a computer, a workstation is really just a very powerful computer that has certain features that architects or hedge fund people might like.
Generally for high-powered business use, ideally. They're not always this small.
In fact, they are almost never this small.
The sort of reason this exists is that it's special, is that it's so small.
That is why we are talking to you about the HP Z2 Mini, because it is so small and yet it is still a workstation.
And now there are slightly smaller boxes, but they will not reach the power of something like this. If you want Mini, there are even smaller boxes, but you're gonna give up a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you could get basically a stick. You could get
Literally,
a computer that's a
stick,
like a USB stick. But the reason that this is so impressive is because this has a Xeon processor in it, which is it takes a ton of energy, which is why they did somewhat of a cop-out, and that's why we have this here as well. This is the power brick to power this HP Z2.
And so it isn't mobile, so you are going to put this on a desk and you'll probably drape this behind, but yeah, part of how it's so small is because the power source is not in fact in the box.
Yeah, and that's why for those of you who might be familiar with, say, like the Mac Mini, very popular mini desktop, nowhere near as powerful, but they managed to put the power brick inside of it.
Right.
Can't be done with the components that we have in here, which we can talk about later.
Yeah, so that's the overview. We'll jump into the details. Again, if you have any comments or questions, type away. So you mentioned the Xeon processor, very high-end. So what other components are going along with the Xeon processor?
Oh yes, okay, so we have a Xeon processor. We have a NVIDIA Quadro graphics card, which is, in terms of absolute power, not as powerful as, say, like a GTX 1080, but it's great for offloading tasks to the GPU, not necessarily like getting the most frame rates out of a game.
Right.
And then we've also got a 1 terabyte SSD. I'm sorry, 256 gigabyte SSD and a 1 terabyte hard drive combined together to provide the storage. And we've got a lot of unique ports, actually. This one can be configured with pretty much any ports that you want because they have these 2 slots here that are flexible. The one that we have actually has a serial port.
You never know.
Which you may recognize.
You might be using some old monitors.
But yeah, and that's another feature of workstations is that they can basically, if you've got equipment that you've tested over the years that works really well and that would be astronomically expensive in terms of time usually to move away from, you do need, you need that compatibility. So it's great to see that. But and then there's also no fewer than 3 DisplayPort
Screens
outputs.
for days out of this thing.
Yeah, I mean the idea basically is you could use this to power a surveillance suite, like for your building security, or maybe you have you want to run a financial trading desk with it.
Sure.
You need 3 screens. But not only that, you can actually daisy chain screens, so you can get up to 6.
It's a lot of screens. So yeah, more than anything, the processor but also the ports are just reminding me. We mentioned this kind of for business use, but yeah, this is really not something a individual person's probably buying for your business is probably going to buy this for you, or if you're the IT manager, you're looking for computers for your employees to run. Or if you run a small business, you're going to maybe buy one of these for your office or one of these for your employees.
Right. Now that said, though, because this is an HP desktop, you can configure it pretty much any way that you want. If you like the look of this thing with this stylish Z that you were remarking about earlier, you can actually configure this with basic, an Intel Core i5 if you want.
Yeah.
And the price for that is actually fairly reasonable, but that's not really what it's designed for.
Right. There are a lot of cheap or small PCs you could get with that sort of power level. This is generally, because of the workstation, which is literally in the name, kind of meant for high-powered or business use.
Right.
So RAM, what are we talking?
Yeah, okay, so we have 32 gigabytes of RAM in here. I believe that the upper limit is 64.
Probably.
And not only is that a lot of memory, but this actually has a workstation specific thing called EEC, which basically means that there will be you have a 99% chance of never having anything go wrong attributable to the memory. Basically, it checks for errors in code and things like that, and is basically, you will never have a memory issue, or you'll never have a crash attributable to a memory problem, basically.
Yeah,
And you need the Xeon processor to be in tandem with that in order for that to work. That's kind of the two main software advantages that the workstation components can provide.
We have a question.
How easy is it to open it up if you wanted to
Just
change
gonna ask
password?
Tom that myself.
We have a mole because we are going to open it for you. Well, I guess you could have guessed that. Basically, this is extremely easy to open. If you just move this slider thing here, it pushes up the hinge. And
That's
then you
one
can
of the
simply
easiest access I've maybe ever seen.
Yeah, there are no tools involved. Often when we say no tool, there's lots of PCs that have no tools involved to open it,
You got
but that doesn't mean that
screws.
it's easy.
Yeah, you got screws, you got doors, you got to slide off a whole door.
It's basically what they did was they just put, instead of making tool screw, they just put screws that you can unscrew by hand. They didn't actually change the design. This thing actually is designed to be opened with no tools. That said,
once you're in,
you're not really gonna be upgrading this a lot because everything is packed in here in a customized way. You can, probably the easiest thing to upgrade is obviously this 2.5-inch hard drive because you can just get that right out. But for anything else, you're gonna have to do a lot of tinkering. So again, IT departments are gonna be doing that. This is not something where you can buy the bare bones version and then upgrade components yourself easily.
right.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, because that was in fact very
But yeah,
straightforward.
and as you can tell, I mean, there is literally no place to put this because
it would just be like half again the height, I think.
because basically, half of this is the graphics card, and there's no way to make the graphics card smaller.
Right.
So that's just the reality of the situation.
Right. Obviously, you usually get these big boxes inside computers that are powering it, so they just put that on the outside, which makes sense if you're going to keep this on your desk and throw the brick behind your desk. It's not it's not too difficult to do.
Yeah.
So we've talked about all these high-end parts. Let's talk about how well they performed. I'm going to go over to the benchmark results in your review here, and I'm sure it did very well considering the components, but it is compared to other all-in-one, other workstations. Rather.
Yeah. So this is an interesting dilemma that we had basically is that we've got this workstation here. It's tiny. You're going to obviously need a monitor to use it with, but one of the benefits of it is that you could probably mount it behind the monitor. So that essentially makes it competitive with an all-in-one, and so that's why we have the Dell Precision 5720, which really is the best workstation all-in-one that you can get. But as you can see here, that workstation, the Dell Precision 5720, the configuration that we have here on this chart, that's something like $3,000 or $4,000. This thing is only $2,200, and as you can see, we're looking at
it was by far the fastest one.
Much faster performance in converting videos, in rendering. The Cinebench thing is a 3D rendering test. I mean, there's really no contest there for compared to an all-in-one. I did not put the iMac Pro in here because that's even more expensive. That's $5,000.
At that point, a completely different class.
And
of
that's
desktop.
really basically. I mean, and that's the one thing I will say. The one downside to this, you cannot put like a 32-core, or 16-core chip in here. I mean, there are Xeon processors that go up to 16 and 32 cores, like that you can get in the iMac Pro or the some Dell Precision ones. That will not be able to be put in here because that's too powerful.
Right.
Basically.
We have another question.
Could it be used for streaming?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Those processors are very good for multitasking and hypertasking, as they call it.
Right. So the streaming, like just streaming an online video, if that's what you're asking, on a single screen is a piece of cake. You can do that with anything. But
I assume they mean hosting like a stream.
Yeah. I mean, could you encode something on the fly and then stream that in real time?
While also playing a game, say,
Yes.
which obviously is a it's
Well,
these are high end. I mean, the graphics, it does have dedicated graphics, so that's a lot more than a lot of computers. Like you said, it's not necessarily to squeeze out frames out of games, but because it is an expensive graphics card, like it is going to be able to play a game and do the work.
And the benefit of this setup, if you're doing something like that, is stability. It's not going to crash if you're taxing it. Well, I mean, it'll
Anything
eventually
can crash,
crash. But the combination of a Xeon processor and this EEC memory means that it's going to be much more stable if you are, say, like encoding something in real time over a period of like 3 hours or something like that, it's going to be a lot less likely to crash than your average, PC or laptop.
And on a related note, I'm going to continue on to the 3D tests. As you said, the Quadro card is NVIDIA's business sort of workstation style graphics card. It's more,
Yeah.
it's a lot, it is, don't get us wrong, it's a lot more than having integrated Intel graphics, just the one built into the processor. It is definitely a different class than that. It's just not quite the same as shoving a GTX 10, even a 1070 in, which, I mean, there are higher end Quadro cards.
Yeah, this is a mid-range
This
Quadro
is
card.
I'm reviewing actually a laptop of all things with a
better-
way more powerful Quadro
Yeah.
card in it, the Dell Precision laptop, which is like
Right.
huge.
And some of those have more.
They are much more comparable to the 1080 and 1060.
Yeah, they have more
1070,
VRAM, things
yeah.
like that.
But as you can see on the chart, the MSI machine has a GTX 1070 in it, as does the Zotac Z-Box, which actually is kind of the same size as this, and it does fit a 1080, which is impressive. But those are clearly much better for actual 3D performance. So this is more about the things you mentioned than actually putting out 3D images, especially gaming.
Yeah, if you want a small gaming machine, these two at the bottom are probably better, especially the Zotac box. But this is, those things are not as stable as this. And the other benefit too is that you might not necessarily get tons of frame rates in HD or 4K, but you can be safely powering a ton of monitors. I mean, if you need to like stream something basic to a bunch of monitors, an integrated graphics chip is going to struggle to do that at this.
Yeah. We have another question.
Can you just recap pricing?
I don't actually think we talked
Yeah,
about
you
price.
mentioned it offhand, but I actually realized we didn't really cover it. So what
that's
does it start
another
at?
great thing about this, and that's part of the reason why this gets an Editor's Choice Award, because this configuration here with perfectly acceptable mid-level workstation components is $2,200, right? $2,150.
Yeah.
$2,150, which is a lot of money to spend on a desktop, right?
Not a ton for a high-end workstation. That's pretty good.
Yeah, as I was mentioning, I mean, all-in-ones like the iMac Pro. I mean, the iMac Pro starts at $5,000.
Yeah.
You
are getting a super high-res screen.
You're getting the screen stuff. But let's say you wanted something comparable physical dimensions to the iMac Pro or that Dell Precision 5720. Just buy a decent monitor, not a super expensive monitor, but buy a decent 27-inch monitor. Mount this behind it, and your all-in price is going to be somewhere around $2,500 to $3,000, right?
For I don't know how much worse performance, you might know better offhand.
Than the
iMac Pro.
Than the iMac. I mean, yeah, the
It's
iMac
slower.
Pro is going to, especially on things like rendering a 3D image or things that tax processor cores. It's not going to be comparable to that. But if your processing tasks involve something like streaming or financial modeling software, those core it's not necessarily core and thread dependent. So this is going to be perfectly fine.
And there's always a bigger fish. We also have $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 desktops that blow out the iMac Pro. So it's like it never really stops scaling. You just have to find your budget and need, which is a little specific, but it does also start only at $799.
Yeah.
So there is a much less expensive version of this available for the base price.
Like I said, if you like the design of this and you don't need a workstation, you can still buy it for cheap.
Yeah, it's a nice little buy. It looks nice.
yeah.
It's well made.
Yeah.
So really no complaints on that front. And as such, it did earn an Editor's Choice. You can read Tom's full review, 4 stars Editor's Choice. The pros that it's small, the Xeon processor, relatively inexpensive considering what you get, especially at the lower end of the SKUs. The only con really is this external power brick.
Yeah, I mean that thing is huge.
It's big. It's laptop. It's big for a laptop one, so it's a little big for a desktop.
If you're really space constrained, like that's the whole point of buying this. That is a major downside.